Welcome to Women Mastering Midlife, where we dive deep into the rich complexities of womanhood in our middle years. I'm your host, Victoria Bird, a pharmacist, certified women's health coach, and your guide on this transformative journey. Whether you're navigating perimenopause, thriving in menopause, or mastering midlife's many transitions, this is your weekly dose of expert guidance, compassionate support, and a judgment-free space to explore it all. Together, we will rewrite the narrative around this remarkable stage from being something to dread into a beautiful transition. Welcome back to the Women Mastering Midlife podcast. Today, we're going to discuss a topic that's probably on a lot of your minds as we enter into the holiday season. We're going to talk about setting aside the fear of food and holiday weight gain, and we are going to embrace holiday joy in midlife. We are not getting any younger, ladies, and our holidays on this earth are numbered, and we spend far too much time consumed with calories and weight and our pant size that we are letting joy pass us by. So I am here today to tell you to put it all down and enjoy your holidays. And we are going to talk about why that's important. I'm going to give you some tips to give you a leg up on the holiday so that you walk out feeling a little better than you did last year, and a little perspective. Why not? So midlife brings menopause. And with menopause comes hormonal changes. Things are starting to, especially in perimenopause, you are on a hormone roller coaster. And so you're already seeing weight gain, and it's shifting. You're seeing weight gain in your midsection more than you have before. And I know there's a lot of women that I have talked to about weight gain in midlife that they all say, I never had a belly before, and now I have this pooch. So we're already dealing with our pants not fitting the way we'd like them to, and we're dealing with things shifting and being a little bit more fluffy, maybe a little jiggly. We're dealing with the fact that no matter how little we eat and how much we exercise, it doesn't seem to matter. And so then you are staring down the barrel of Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas, maybe Hanukkah, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and you're terrified of that 10 pounds you think you're going to gain. Now, research shows that the average adult gains between 0.8 and 2 pounds of holiday weight a year, which isn't the 10 pounds that people are afraid of, but that's typically the weight that sticks. So, you might see, you step on the scale and all of a sudden you've gained 6 pounds from Thanksgiving. A lot of times it's inflammation from the food you're eating and water weight, which you can shed pretty quickly. You can fluctuate 5 pounds just by water retention. And there's so much sodium and all the things in the food that we're eating over the holidays that I would not be surprised if you gain several pounds of water weight just from what you're eating. But that'll go away. Every gram of carbs that you consume, your body retains 3 grams of water, which is fine. We need water. We hydrate our muscles. We move our bodies with it. And, it's good for cellular function. And as you decrease the salt intake and you come back to your nutrition plan that you're on after the holidays, you'll see it drop off. And so actually like a complete tangent, but a lot of times when people do start eating on any kind of health plan where you're eating less inflammatory foods, less processed foods, you're cooking at home, incorporating more fruits and vegetables, less refined sugars and simple carbs, you will see a severe drop in weight in the beginning. And a lot of times that is just water weight. So let's put all that aside and remember that can happen. But we need to remember the importance of food in our holiday traditions. With my kids, we make Christmas cookies every year, more than I'd probably like to. Every year I'm like, we're not doing this again this year. And then we always go full out for Christmas cookies. The traditional turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, cranberries. I don't know about you, but our holiday tradition of cranberries, I thought I would like zhuzh it up a little bit and make the slow cooker cranberries with whole cranberries and orange and cinnamon, and they make the house smell delicious. But everyone just wants the canned jellied cranberries that you slice on the can groove. Okay. I like them too. So no one's going to stop having these holiday traditions, right? I mean, like, there's just all of our holiday traditions have food in them in some aspect. So for me, one of my fondest memories of food, one of my favorite holiday traditions was that at Christmas, my great grandmother would make pierogies. She was 100% Polish. You always knew she was talking about you when she'd start talking to my great grandmother would start talking to my grandmother in Polish when you're in the room, because that she would know I would know you're talking about me, because they would look at each other, look at me, start talking in Polish, laugh, and then so anyway, she would make pierogies for Christmas, and there were two teams. There was team potato cheese, and there was team potato and sauerkraut. And I was team potato and sauerkraut, of course. They were my favorite. And I would go into the kitchen in my grandmother's house, and I would slice open the pierogies and kind of peel them open to see if they were potato and cheese or if they were potato and kraut, because I didn't want the cheese. Like, if I bit into it, I'd be disappointed. And I still remember my grandmother, my great grandma's daughter, yelling at me like, "Hey, get out of the kitchen. Stop cutting into all the pierogies." And I would turn them so that you wouldn't see the slice marks or the cut marks. So from the top, they look fine. It's fine. I mean, nobody really cared. I didn't bite them or lick them or smell them. I was just cutting them because I think she used like a Velveeta cheese in the potato and cheese. And so they had kind of like the orange yellow tint to them. So I knew by color what was inside. You could have helped me out and like put like a P or like C or a K or something on the, like, cut into it like a pie, so I know what flavor it is. But anyway, I digress. So I remember those pierogies, and nobody makes them like her. If I get them at a store or even a pierogi shop, they just don't quite taste the same. And I remember one year my great grandmother was in the nursing home, and we brought her to my grandmother's house and we made pierogies. My aunt was trying to get the recipe down. And I remember, I don't know if it's the generation or just how she cooked, but I it's like, "Grandma, how much flour is in there?" "I don't know. You put enough flour till the dough feels like this." And she, expects you to feel the dough. It's like, when I'm writing a recipe so that we can pass this down to generation after generation and have these recipes when you're gone, we can't describe a feeling and know that that's going to work for us. We need measurements, Helen. We need measurements. And so we have that recipe because those traditions, if you don't, then they go with your loved one. And I'm very connected to her through those memories of food. And if somebody said to me in my midlife weight struggles, if somebody said to me, "You could have your great grandmother's pierogies today, but you're going to gain 10 pounds," I would say, bring it on. I would gladly buy another pair of jeans. I'm trying to tell you guys how not to stress about eating food in midlife during the holidays. I'm crying about my grandmother. I'm sorry. For my husband, his favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. We've been hosting Thanksgiving for years. It's his favorite. It connects him with his cousins, his aunt, his uncle. Everybody comes to our house. We've been hosting for the last few years, and it's easily his favorite. He's like a kid. He's like a kid at Christmas on Thanksgiving morning because he's so excited to have everybody over and sit around food. And it's not about material possessions. It's about connecting and eating and laughing and having all of those foods that you grew up with. The one thing he always needs to have is his mom's sweet potatoes. So she always brings them up with her when we have Thanksgiving because Those remind him of his childhood. And so I'm sure you're starting to connect some food during the holidays with your past and with your loved ones. I can hear you doing it. And that's what life is about, right? It's about traditions, it's about stories, it's about connecting ourselves to our loved ones. It's amazing that food can do that, right? So I've shared with you the importance. So hopefully you all have fond memories of food somewhere in your holiday memory arsenal. I can see the Inside Out movie, the little, core memory balls, right? So now we all recognize how important it is to enjoy that food, to enjoy the traditions. But we can still do it in a way that, it's balancing. It's a balancing act, right? We're balancing health with enjoyment. So some of the tips that I use myself and I suggest to clients are to be mindful of your eating. If you're going to a holiday party, so we'll put Thanksgiving aside, because if you eat a full meal before you go to Thanksgiving at your mom's house, you might hear about it. But if you're going to a holiday party for work, let's say, if it's at the end of a work day, sometimes those days kind of get away from you. You don't eat all day. You go to the party, you hit the buffet, or it's at a bar, you drink too many beverages. So if you have the opportunity to either plan a meal for lunch that day or eat something at home before you go out that is protein forward, good vegetables, a spring mix salad with some chicken on top.
Did you hear about the Women Mastering Midlife community but missed the enrollment window? Don't worry, your opportunity is coming again soon. Are you tired of feeling lost in the sea of conflicting menopause advice, struggling with symptoms that your doctor dismisses, wasting money on miracle products that don't deliver? The Women Mastering Midlife community is your solution. We offer expert guidance from a pharmacist and certified women's health coach, a supportive community who truly understands, research-backed resources at your fingertips, personalized strategies for nutrition, fitness, and overall well-being. But here's the catch. Our doors aren't always open. Don't miss your chance to transform your midlife journey. Sign up for our waitlist today at www.missvictoriabird.com/community or join the waitlist through the link in our show notes. Waitlist members will get first access when enrollment reopens, exclusive content until our next launch, and a special membership rate only for those on the waitlist. I'm Victoria Bird, a pharmacist and certified women's health coach who created the community I could have used when I began to experience symptoms of perimenopause. Not only have I spent years researching the menopause transition and working with clients, but I am also right alongside you in the thick of it. This community addresses the whole experience of midlife and with a sense of belonging only a group of women can provide. Take control of your perimenopause experience. Join the waitlist now at www.missvictoriabird.com/community or find the link to the waitlist in our show notes below.
You don't have to completely fill yourself, but eat something, get started. Kind of like a pre-party appetizer so that you are ready to go and eat with the people that you love or that you enjoy spending time with and you want to celebrate, but you're not going to gorge yourself because you're starving and you haven't eaten or your body is craving nourishment. Always remember to hydrate. Hydrate. If you're going to drink a cocktail or any kind of alcoholic beverage, make a promise to yourself that for every cocktail, glass of wine, whatever you drink, you're going to have a glass of water with it. 1, you'll drink less. 2, you'll eat less. 3, maybe you'll feel better the next day. I mean, midlife sleep and alcohol do not go hand in hand, right? Like, let's remember that we need to be mindful of alcohol consumption because it's going to wreak havoc. But that'll be another conversation for another episode. I feel it coming. Remember your portions. I tell my clients all the time, when you are looking at all the foods, first of all, there will be things that you don't like, right? I know the things that are sitting out. If somebody were to make creamed corn, I would not like that. I shall not put it on my plate. Or if there's desserts that you don't even really favor, don't pick them up. That's an easy one, right? But also just remember portions, put some protein on your plate first and then try to go for vegetables, but also just enjoy yourself for Pete's sake. If you look at your plate and it's piled like a mountain, it's probably too much food. But don't skimp, or just have a taste of things, see what you like the most, and then go back and put those on your plate. Another thing that I suggest is, bring a healthy side dish. Bring something that you cooked yourself. You can control what's in it. It's not processed. It's not inflammatory. Maybe dairy drives you crazy or gluten. Take those out. Make something to share. One, you're helping out the host. Two, that going on your plate is going to be a good choice, right? So if you've got this really awesome fall recipe for butternut squash and Brussels sprouts, cook it and bring it. And then you're also helping your family eat something that's non-inflammatory and tastes good. And maybe that becomes a new holiday tradition. Maybe it becomes something that is required at your holiday celebrations. So just remember that. Because if you lock yourself in, you might be stuck making it for the next 20 years. I'm just saying. Another thing I will recommend is incorporating movement and exercise into your holiday. So one example that I love to give is taking a walk. If your family's a lot and it's overstimulating, or you're having a conversation about a topic that you really don't want to be having, say you're going to go stretch your legs. Hopefully, if you live in the Pacific Northwest like I do, there's a very good chance that it's pouring. But just walk around the house. I don't know. Just grab your raincoat. But taking even just a 10-minute walk after you eat, it helps with your insulin levels. It helps. So blood sugar balance, obviously. It helps with stress. If it gets you outside into fresh air, it's some grounding and that's good for you. Fresh air is always good. But if you're enjoying your family, then take them with you. Say, hey, I really want to work my legs. I want to stretch a bit. You want to come with me and let's go on a walk. For Thanksgiving, maybe sign up for a turkey trot. If you're not the one cooking, if you're not the lucky one to put the turkey in at whatever awful time in the morning we put the turkeys in, go do the turkey trot. Do a little 5K. That starts your day off, right? I think there's like Santa runs. I don't know. I'm not a marathoner. I'm not a runner. I don't sign up for big group exercising activities. But if that's something that you like, that sounds like a great idea, right? Also staying on schedule with your exercise program. So if you're following an exercise program or you're doing strength training and resistance training, bring resistance bands on the road. I have a little drawstring pouch, doesn't weigh much, doesn't take up much room. I have loop bands, resistance bands with the handles, and I have a fabric, I call it a booty band, but it's a fabric band, resistance band. And I can get a full body resistance training workout in a bedroom or in a den or whatever. So if you're going somewhere that doesn't have a gym, that's a really quick and easy way to get a workout in. And you can actually, do it in your pajamas before you leave the bedroom in the morning. And then nobody even knows that you're not coming to say hello before you get your workout in. I'm 100% an advocate of bringing those along. If you're driving and you want to throw your dumbbells in your car, more power to you. I mean, if you want to pack them in a suitcase and you risk the chance of going over the weight limit on an airplane, but hey, to each their own. But you can do a strength training workout or a resistance workout, even with just body weight, squats, lunges, sit-ups, planks, push-ups. There's a lot of things you can do with your body, even if you don't want to pack the resistance bands. I'll put a link in the show notes below I have a storefront with some workout gear, and I love having travel stuff in there. So take a look at that if you're looking for some resistance bands. They're affordable. They're easy to pack. Highly recommend. We're also going to talk about stress management because even if we love our family, it is stressful. It's stressful to add new people to the mix. This could be a very stressful year with election season. I don't talk politics on this show. Try not to talk politics with family, but sometimes those conversations come up and they can get stressful. There could be a lot of reasons you're stressed. Trying to manage the stress in ways of, you can't get rid of stress, but you can mitigate, right? So breathing techniques, meditation, grounding exercises, whatever it takes to help your body get out of that fight or flight mode, you're dropping the cortisol. When you are stressed, your body is basically in panic mode and releasing cortisol. Cortisol loves to help you pack fat into your midsection. So the more stressed you are, the more cortisol you're producing, the more weight you're going to gain. And that's every day in life. So when we're embracing joy in holiday traditions, we need to talk about there are some psychological benefits. There's some clinical benefits to embracing the joy, right? So holiday traditions give you a sense of belonging. They can help people feel connected to community and loved ones. Sharing a meal can create a sense of community and belonging, and cooking together can strengthen relationships. I love cooking with my kids. I think they prefer to be cooked for, but I love it. I love teaching them so that when they are launching out of our house, they can feed themselves home cooked meals. I think that that's fun. There's nostalgia. I've already cried today about, these holiday traditions. They evoke feelings of comfort and nostalgia, right? So if there's a cookie, or I think it was pizza bread that my dad's mom would make, there's these childhood holiday meals or baked goods that you could be recreating, and it brings joy. There's also some fanfare around the holidays. I know that there's a lot of stress and we tend to focus on how exhausting the holidays are, but let's also remember that there can be joy and positive emotions, and these impact your overall health. When you have joy and positive emotions in your life, it helps to lower stress. It helps to reduce your stress response to things. It's better for, it decreases anxiety, it helps your sleep. There's so many positive benefits to finding joy in the holidays. And if it's around food, why deprive yourself of the food that creates the joy? You can always also find non-food ways to celebrate and create memories. Going to zoo lights during the winter season, or playing a board game, playing a game that the family always played. If it's snowing, go outside and make some snow angels, making gingerbread houses. That's, it's my kids usually, my youngest would eat the candy instead of making the gingerbread house. But that's a non-food way to celebrate. For Thanksgiving with my husband's family, it's the meal is the beginning. And then there's air hockey, and there's catching up and connecting with people that you don't see every day. And there's a little bit of foosball. Sometimes the kids get on the Switch and they have, a Mario Kart marathon. Those are some really fun non-food ways to celebrate and make more memories. So if you feel like you've been sitting around a table and you've been stuffing your face and you just feel like you've had enough, then find some non-food ways to celebrate after you go for your walk. So another practical tip I wanted to give you guys. So, make sure you're trying to sleep. Sometimes when you travel, sleep can be hard. The older I get, the less I like hotel beds and hotel pillows and guest beds and guest pillows. I totally get why the older you get, the more you see people bringing their own pillow places. I get it. But try to get some sleep. It'll help your energy. When you're exhausted, you're also more likely to eat just mind-numbing eating. You're not paying attention. So make sure you maintain your sleep as best you can, especially on the road if you're the one traveling. If you're having the holidays at your house, I don't even know. We have the holidays at our house. I try to, give myself a break. My husband does one of the things that I really enjoy on the weekends is laying in bed and having a cup of coffee in bed. And so he gets up much earlier than me. So he'll go downstairs and make a cup of coffee for me with my nut pods and bring it to me and open the curtains so I could see the morning. And it's a nice, indulgent way to slowly start the day. So I'm going to make sure I do that. If I have to get a turkey in at a certain time, that won't happen exactly that day. But the other days around it, that will be something that happens. But more important than anything, ladies, let's reframe the narrative. Let's get away from guilt and shame around food and your weight. Let's focus on gratitude that we are here and that we are present and that we are with people we want to be with. And it may not look perfect, but it sure is going to be great, wonderful, lovely, nostalgic, whatever adjective you want to discuss your holidays. Let's focus on the gratitude and the presence rather than perfection. You know, I always tell people, especially clients that are tracking macronutrients, so macronutrients are your carbohydrates, your fats, and your proteins. And if you're tracking those, I always say memories over macros. Okay. So make the memories. Don't count the macros. And we think about the holidays being like from November to January. It's not 2 solid months of eating holiday foods, drinking, not sleeping, not exercising. It is, if you're thinking Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day, that's 5 days. If you celebrate Hanukkah, obviously Hanukkah is more days than Christmas and Christmas Eve, 6 more days. But we're not talking about, so if you're talking about 5 to 11 days out of 365, those specific days, make the memories. Be careful of letting it sneak into the whole week before Christmas or the week between Christmas and New Year's. That becomes a complete haze. It's like the black hole of a week for a lot of people, the week between Christmas and New Year's. But you can still make better choices on the days that aren't the holidays. But let's have memories over macros. If you're tracking on the if you're tracking your food on the holidays, just put it aside. If you're tracking on your phone, put your phone down. Just be present with the people around you and be so gracious, grateful, excited to be around the people that are in front of you. If it's just your children or you're having a small celebration, it doesn't matter. 1 person, 20 people. Be present with that party that's in front of you. Think about some ways you can incorporate new, joyful traditions that support well-being. Think of ways that you can incorporate healthy activities, getting active, going for a hike, doing a turkey trot, whatever kind of 5K or whatever you want to run. But I know, there are even, it's like a leg day on the holiday or something. Some gyms have special, early morning hours on a holiday. So you can get in and get your workout done and then go on with your day. Maybe that's one of the new traditions that you add. But just remember that holiday traditions can be just as important for mental well-being as eating healthy food. Incorporate movement, rest, mitigating stress, limiting alcohol, memories over macros for the holidays, and just embrace joy while honoring your health. You can actually do those 2 things. So when I talked about my favorite holiday tradition around food, when I talked about my grandma's pierogies, I'm sure you had an idea in your head of some memory around food during the holidays. I want to hear them. Let me know. Put a comment below the podcast, send me a message, find me on social media. I want to hear about your family traditions because that just brings me joy when we talk about the fun celebration side of life. And I'm excited to hear what yours are. I also like to learn new things about people. And sometimes it's fun to pick up other people's fun traditions and try them out for yourself. So please share. Please tell me the stories that you were thinking of when you were listening to me crying over my great-grandma's pierogies. So we're stepping in this month to the beginning of the holiday season. My holiday gift to you will be a holiday food guide. I will add that to the show notes. You can grab that. And we will be having several more conversations before the end of the year I'll be popping into your headset or your car radio. But remember to give yourself grace. And remember that the people in front of you and the food you're sitting around the table eating is far, far more important than your pant size.
Thanks so much for joining me today. We will be back next week for another episode of Women Mastering Midlife. Until then, find us on Instagram at Women Mastering Midlife or Miss Victoria Bird, and join us in the Women Mastering Midlife community to continue our discussions. You'll find links to what you've heard here today, as well as ways to connect with us in the show notes below. This podcast is intended for entertainment, educational, and informational purposes only. Please note the hosts, guests, and experts featured on this podcast are not your personal healthcare providers, life coaches, or advisors. The content should not be considered as professional, personalized medical, psychological, or prescriptive advice. This podcast is not a substitute for consulting your physician, therapist, local pharmacist, or relevant professionals to discuss your specific concerns and situation. The topics discussed should not be used as the sole basis to diagnose or treat any medical condition, make significant life changes, or make important decisions regarding your health otherwise. Women Mastering Midlife is not responsible for any undesired outcomes resulting from actions taken based on the information provided in this podcast. The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guests only and do not represent any of those other individuals or entities. Always consult with qualified professionals before making significant changes to your health regimen, lifestyle, or medical plans.